Lovely. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Welcome to the stream. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody who has showed up. Let's give this couple more minutes so people can start joining. But before they do, excited to be surrounded by such cool people on the panel today, and excited to get this going to talk a bit more about Interop, to talk about more about Concero, Chainlink, and all of the lovely chains that we have integrated and that we have live on stream with us today. Just a bit of admin. We'll be doing panel AMAs. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll be seeing that, and we'll be answering them as we go along during an AMA. More than happy to prolong it if needed, and we'll be answering questions after the stream as well. So keep those coming. And yeah, let's give it a couple of more minutes, but very excited to get this going.
Awesome. Until we have a few more people joining us in the live, let me welcome everyone. First of all, thank you for each and every one of you for being here. A small, short introduction. I'm Nathan Concero, taking care of all things marketing and community. Concero is, today for Concero, it's a monumental milestone especially for the cross-chain interoperability space. For years, blockchain have been operated as isolated islands, each powerful, but again, limited by their boundaries. Concero V2, as you all are aware, it's powered by Chainlink CCIP, and we're making sure to bridge to these islands in a unified manner and make sure it's all a unified continent. Um, Today, we're going to be demonstrating the live integration of a few chains to our Concero V2 test networks. And we look forward to all of you talk specifically about your own chains and what you think generally about the cross-chain space altogether as well. And to kickstart, we have our CEO, Andy, and followed by an AMA panel featuring Chainlink and our panelists from partner chains. Once again, a huge thank you to our partners and community for making this possible. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, thank
lovely.
you.
I mean, why not we just start it off? It's probably going to be recorded anyways. And yeah, get right into the conversation. As mentioned, thank you very much for everybody to be for being here. Why don't we just start with a little bit of introductions? I'm Andy. I'm one of the founders of Concero. And if we go around the room, talk a bit more about yourself, about what you do at where you work, and yeah, why don't we start with Steven from Sonic?
Hey there, yeah, I'm Steve from Sonic Labs. I'm on the BD team. I handle a lot of the ecosystem as far as projects, infrastructure, all that sort of thing. We're a high performant layer one EVM compatible chain. And yeah, that's about the extent of what I do there.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Who wants to go next? Sam from Chainlink.
I volunteer to go next.
Go ahead.
My name is Sam Friedman. Really happy to be here. I lead the technical and security work streams for Chainlink Build, which is like an ecosystem showcase program. And Andy, you're a co-founder in one of the projects in the program. So thanks for having me here.
Thank you very much for coming. Moving on, how about Ben from BNB?
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Ben. I'm with the BNB Chain team, mostly focused on everything around DeFi. I'm from the business-related team. Business means pretty broad responsibilities at BNB Chain, actually. Mostly focused on, as I said, DeFi, staking, infrastructure, restaking, liquid staking, RWA, but also a bit of AI. Not so many memes, but everything that is probably relevant for Chainlink and Concero. Probably I can definitely cover. Thank you for letting me join to this live stream.
Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for taking the time to not talk about just the memes and the meme coin cycle that we've been experiencing. Moving on, Wasp from Core DAO.
Hello, everyone. Super happy to be here. I'm a contributor at CoreDAO. I focus on BD, onboarding, integrations, and above all, the community side. Super excited to be here. A lot of interesting stuff. So let's keep this going.
Lovely. Thank you very much for being here. And Sam from Sonium.
Hi guys, super nice to meet you all. Thanks so much for having me on Concero team. So I'm Sam from Sonium. So Sonium just launched this year in Jan, and we're mainly focused on creative content and building a creative economy on the blockchain by Sony Block Solutions Labs. And basically, I'm doing partnerships at Sonium. So this covers like infrastructure, DeFi, RWAs. So entirely just focus on protocol growth and trying to help the ecosystem bloom as much as possible. So yeah, that's all.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Satoshi from Iris.
Yeah, hi, I'm Zaitoshi. I handle growth at Iris, and Iris is a programmable data chain, layer one. And unlike other chains, we we do not focus on transaction speeds, but focus on low cost and scalable data storage with high performance EVM compatible execution layer, which we call Iris VM. We're currently in testnet, and we'll be moving towards mainnet very soon. And yeah, that's us.
Lovely. Pleasure to have you here, guys. And last but definitely not least, Ilya from Hightower, who are actually our first node operators currently in testnet. And when we move on to mainnet, they're the backbone upon which the scalable interoperability of Concero is built. So pleasure to have you here. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey everyone, I'm excited to be here on behalf on Hightower. I'm the CEO at Hightower, the infrastructure partner supporting Concero. For those who may not know us, Hightower is a high-performance node operator securing many networks, both mainnet and testnet, with a deep focus on uptime, performance, and protocol alignment, as well as we are developing some analytical data solutions. Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much for coming. It's great to have you all here. And just before we jump into the AMA, a quick introduction about what we do and here at Concero and how do we take interoperability to the next level. Essentially, when we have started designing our solution, the number one North Star essentially that we had in our head was scale, because what we saw is a very, very big gap in the market when it comes to very scalable solutions that can deploy to new chains very, very quickly. So the few things that we have really focused on is rethinking how the entire architecture of an interoperability protocol operates. And the biggest, I think, step forward that we have taken is that we have decoupled the delivery network from the validator sats in order to essentially speed up the process of integrations. Whereas before, interop protocols would essentially build out one operator that would be doing, the jobs of identifying new transactions, validating those transactions, delivering those transactions to the destination chain. We have essentially built a very lightweight operator infrastructure that just focuses on steps 1 and 3. So what operators do, they identify a new transaction, they send a trigger to start the validation process, and then rely on partners like Chainlink in order to deliver a validated report of the transaction actually happening. And so in a case with Chainlink, for example, we use Chainlink functions that can essentially, once triggered, go to any chain, validate the fact that something has happened, and then generate a tamper-proof report that our operator can then pick up and deliver to the destination chain very quickly and very easily. The two main, I think, value adds that we provide is, first of all, that we're very scalable. As mentioned before, it takes us minutes to deploy to a new chain, and it costs us less than $1 per integration and underlying costs. But also we're very capital efficient because the operator set is secured economically, but because every single step of the transaction is double checked, and we can know when, if and when an operator is being faulty, we can detect this very, very quickly, and we can start the slashing process then. What this allows us to do is, because this grace period is so short, because we can come to an absolute decision on whether an operator was faulty or not in a matter of minutes, we can reuse the same delegated stake very, very often. That allows us to not require that much capital delegated to us and to our operators in order to sustain a very high transaction throughput. What this means for integrators and end users, well, there is less delegated stake needed. Therefore, there is less capital to look after and to provide an APY on. Therefore, we can have a lot cheaper transactions whilst reducing our risks as much as possible. So those are just like the main things, and I'll be talking about them a lot more. But today we have a plethora of very interesting guests, and I want to talk to them a little bit. So I think just as a starter, I think most of the people are familiar with the chains that are present here. But what I wanted to find out is, what are your visions for interoperability? Like, obviously, interoperability is not a new thing. It's not a new problem. But have you struggled with something? Has something been quite a problem for you as a platform to grow? And what do you think interoperability is going to become, let's say, a couple of years from now? And what do you want it to become? Don't be shy. If anyone is ready with an answer or has some thoughts, please jump in.
I mean, yeah, we're getting to the point.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm gonna, provide some. Sorry, Sonic. Please go first.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I was just going to say that we're getting to the point where a lot of projects and a lot of people launching tokens are launching them from the standpoint of starting from an interoperability layer and then distributing onto chains. Like, I think we're going to see some more of that. That definitely seems to be becoming more prevalent. I think as that grows, like you said, connecting these islands is pretty vital, right? So I don't see anything but more push towards that. And yeah, that's about all I've got on that one.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting take, because the way that I see it, like, obviously we work with chains a lot, right, for integrations, but the ultimate end customer for technology like ours is actually the project, the asset, or the end user, right? So chains become these shelves, right, where these assets can live, or they can perform some actions in those platforms, but the chain no longer kind of has full ownership of an asset, if you know what I mean. And I think this is a very interesting point and a very interesting trend that we're seeing kind of unfold now. I think, Ben, you had some thoughts as well.
Yeah, Stephen, definitely makes sense. And although the analogy of islands is actually quite still true, right? You would think that we're now in 2025, everything will be fully interoperable by now. I mean, for emerging assets, that's sometimes not the case, right? Especially if there's new assets with relatively low liquidity and relatively unknown. It's not so easy to efficiently. And unfortunately, in the past, there's been a lot of bridge issues. So the whole bridging experience is actually, okay for really big assets. But when it comes like to bridging from one layer two to another layer two, even if it's from a layer one like BNB chain, right, to another layer like from BNB chain or to BNB chain, it's still cumbersome, and for new users, it's could be quite scary, especially if like it's a high amount. But with the Chainlink being one of the market leaders in this, that definitely makes sense. But what I see personally is that there's an increased demand maybe from users that they want more performance on layer one. And for example, BNB chain has also listened to this. BNB chain has just cut the basically transaction time and block intervals from 1.5 seconds to 0.75 seconds, which is a huge push in this scaling of the layer one. And yeah, this faster block times, more interoperability is definitely something that users are asking for, and they also deserve, right?
Yeah, 100%, and I think it's actually quite interesting that you raise a point of smaller liquidity assets and smaller assets in general, right? Because although bridging and interoperability is kind of thought of as a pretty much a solved problem, I disagree with that, because I think if it is solved for the top like 1 or 5% of the assets, it's not really solved, right? I think in order for it to be truly solved, it has to be commoditized, and it has to be very cheap, very quick, and it has to be very very consistent. And in the form of layer ones like BNB, for example, like this is where a lot of liquidity lives, right? But then a lot of what you can do with those assets, it actually lives on like L2s or like side chains and everything like that. And I think the jumping in and out and kind of abstracting away like the asset away from the chain, like an asset has to live somewhere, but from a user perspective, the user doesn't really need to know about it. It needs to be like the experience has to be unified across whatever island they choose to use. It's because it's their asset. They can do whatever they want with it, and I think this is kind of like where we're going with it. And I have this like vision of the future holding many chains and many specialized chains. We see this with app chains like Unichain, right, emerging right now, and more chains are going to have more specialty. And I think when that time comes, we will see a much larger demand for interoperability, although it is quite large even right now. And speaking of specialized chains, I think Iris, you have a very interesting value prop for what you guys are building and what Iris Chain is for. Could you talk a bit more about why you're building what you're building and what Iris is aiming to do?
Yeah, happy to. I think first and foremost, we are our own layer one, so there can be smart contract execution on our chain as well. But predominantly, we are also a data layer. So that means actually, even as of right now, we can work with any other chain or any apps on any other chain. So you guys can apps can execute their smart contracts or transactions on, let's say, Aptos, Parachain, or any of these chains. They are with us on this call. And yeah, data can be stored on Iris itself. So I think I think that's where we are fundamentally different. And comparing ourselves to other existing data chains, we don't just store static data. We allow smart contract execution directly on it, and we are far cheaper and more scalable.
Lovely. And I think scale is a very interesting word, and I think a lot of people in the industry tend to forget about it. Like this industry is like growing and is moving at a very, very high pace, and obviously scale is very much needed. And I think it is very interesting to see how like these problems emerge, and then these problems, they find a solution, but then the first solution usually is quite unscalable, right? And only then do we see more and more teams coming to solve this problem at scale. And I think it's a very, very fast-paced environment, and we see this over and over again, but it's a very interesting process that tends to happen. Speaking of scale, just so we can kick this off, first of all, Nikita is here on the stream with us. He's our head of engineering. Whilst we talk, he's going to be integrating BNB, Iris, Sonic, Sonium, everything into on-chain into Concero. And he's going to be quiet because he's a quiet dude, but he's going to be shipping and deploying. So in the background, you will see a lot of code. But by the end of this live stream, I believe we should have everybody up and running and a bunch of new chains added to the underlying protocol. So Nikita, take it away, share your screen, and let's get to integrating. Speaking of integrations and specialized chains, Sonic, you guys have been killing it. You guys have been attracting a lot of attention, attracting a lot of users, and I wanted to ask you just a bit about what is it that you think the underlying value proposition that Sonic provides, and how it kind of fits itself into this multi-chain world. For people to know.
Yeah, so I mean, we concentrate on being very fast. We've got very low block times. We have very high throughput, high TPS, between 10,000 and 400,000 TPS, depending on what metrics you want to go by. The 400,000 is through chain spec. We usually say closer to 10, but yeah, one of the big value adds that we provide right now is our fee monetization program, where all developers get 90% of the gas consumed by their contracts returned to them in the form of rewards. So it's an alternate revenue stream that doesn't really exist on other chains yet. We'll see if that tends to move out to other chains. But yeah, that's basically our biggest thing right now. We've got a new consensus mechanism coming shortly, which should increase speeds quite a bit. We've got half-second block times now, and we're trying to cut that down. Still think it's too slow. Our engineering team is never really happy with performance. Doesn't matter how quick it is. They want it faster. They've got some pretty big plans over the next few years to drive our available block space like through the roof. So yeah, we're just all about performance over here.
Amazing. I mean, I think it's really cool what you did with like paying like developers being able to get 90% of gas back, and I think this kind of ties into the ethos upon which this industry and this technology was built. And I think, as we've talked earlier about, like assets no longer essentially being owned by the underlying platforms that they're deployed on, aka chains, and them being more interoperable, it kind of creates this very interesting and competitive environment where, you know, value props like Sonic's could arise, right? Like if there was no interoperability, it would be a lot harder for you guys to acquire, you know, TVL, to acquire users, to get people to interact with you and to use Sonic. But because interoperability is growing and it's becoming better, I think value props like this, we're going to see a lot more of them, because then it just becomes easier for people to switch. And at the end of the day, it leads to a much better end user experience. It leads better to user experience, better developer experience, and stuff like that. So I think fundamentally, we're seeing the first cracks and the first shifts into this direction. And I'm very, very excited to see what it brings, because then it's going to be a race towards who can make the customer's life better, rather than who can lock in and retain a customer for longest. Because like you could not, essentially the walls are not going to exist. So the only way that you can retain a customer would be just to make sure they're as happy as possible. And I think, unlike Web2, even, this is something that is really very native and natural to Web3. And you know, one of the reasons why I became so excited about this technology and this industry way back in the day when I was starting out. But speaking again about specialized chains, Sam from Sonium, please tell us a bit more about Sonium, about how you guys fit into this multi-chain world, and about stuff that you do, because it's very, very exciting. And yeah, want to hear a bit more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andy. Yeah, so I'm happy to share. So I think Sonium definitely has like a different sort of narrative going for ourselves right now. We essentially want to be known as the entertainment layer and like the creative economy when it comes to blockchain usage. So essentially, what we are focused on right now is a lot of like consumer gaming, NFTs, entertainment, and any sort of just like Web2 usage apps you would like to bring over to Web3 and give them an experience such that like the end user doesn't necessarily need to know that they're using a blockchain. They don't need to know what a block is, or even we want to give them like a seamless like gasless experience at the same time. So that's entirely what we're focused on right now. We've managed to bring on a lot of like creative and like nostalgic IPs as well to our chain in terms of like NFTs. So I think this is what we're going to continue focusing on. At the same time, we also do have a lot of like interesting like blue chip DeFi projects that we're working with. We just recently launched on Uniswap not so long ago. We have a proposal on Aave that also just came through, and then we're also working very closely with OpenSea. So I think we are in a pretty good position in terms of like competing and basically standing out in terms of our value proposition and like the current L2 ecosystem.
Yeah, you guys have been killing it as well. I remember when you were just announced, I was like super excited about this,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause this is a very very unique use case, and I
Mhm.
think it's a needed use case for the blockchain tech. But I really I want to dig into what you said about like users not even understanding that they're on a blockchain, and I think this is kind of where we're moving to as an industry altogether, like abstraction as
Mhm.
as a as a term and as like the direction we're moving in. I think is one of the most important parts for this technology to be truly adopted, right? Because I mean, just think about it, right? It would be so weird, right? So for
Mhm.
example, we all connected through Telegram, right? We all talk on Telegram, but imagine if I had like an AWS version of Telegram and you guys had a Microsoft Azure version of Telegram, and somebody had, I don't know, Google Cloud version of Telegram. It's like where it's hosted. I imagine if we couldn't talk to each other, or we had to like specify, you know, which cloud server provider we were using for this app for us to be able to communicate. And I think this is something that is happening in Web3 right now. It's like we have to specify. It's like I'll have this asset on this chain, but I think quite quickly we're going to be moving away from it. And you know, use cases like Soniums, where you know it's just the best tech to get the job done, not the best place, I don't know, to keep TVL, not the best, you know, it doesn't have to be. It has to be specialized in its own thing. And then you can, you know, dip into BNB, for example, because there's a lot of liquidity there in order to do an asset swap. And then you deploy your smart contract onto Sonic, because then you get 90% of the fees back and stuff like that. And I think this is a very exciting future, and this is definitely somewhere where we're going. And you know, underneath all of that sits interoperability and sits you know, Concero and Chainlink and you know, all of the other players. So yeah, very very interesting. And speaking of interoperability and solving this big problem of getting chains to talk to each other, Sam from Chainlink, why don't you tell us a bit more about CCAP, how you guys like your design ethos around it? Because I think we have like slightly different approaches, because you're very 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 much security focused because of your target audiences and everything. And it's very interesting to hear it from your side, from the side of like DeFi meeting TradFi, and how that connection works together, and how CCIP plays into that.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. So a quick overview of CCIP. The Chainlink cross-chain interoperability protocol enables an account on one chain to send a message to an account on another chain. Those chains can be private chains, public chains, L1s, L2s, app chains. And as of just a couple of weeks ago, they can be EVM and non-EVM chains. The those are the chains. The messages that the users send can include data or tokens, or both data and tokens for what we call a programmable token transfer. So a message just might be instructions to do something on another chain, maybe to sign something, unlock something, trigger a rewards distribution. Tokens, obviously, some sort of transfer value. And for a programmable token transfer, it would be a combination of the two. So I want to send tokens from chain A to chain B with instructions to deposit those tokens in a lending protocol, borrow against them, and then take the borrowed assets and do something else with them, like put them in a yield aggregator or send them cross-chain again to somewhere else to chase yield. That's just one example. The interfaces for CCIP are the same on all chains, and they're immutable. So a developer can use the same code across all chains of the same family. And CCIP is a settlement layer. So it observes and respects the source chain's finality flag. Whatever trust or finality decisions that the designers of the chain made, CCIP will adhere to. And so that's one of the ways that it kind of observes or adopts some security ethos. The other ways are CCIP runs on decentralized Oracle networks, and it runs on multiple decentralized Oracle networks. So the infrastructure is completely decentralized. Chainlink does not own or operate the nodes that run CCIP, but we do write the software. And then those decentralized Oracle networks, they act as secondary validation layers for each other. And there's also a separate network called the risk management network. That's a completely different application architecture. The nodes are run by completely different entities and eliminates anything like a supply chain attack or anything else. The historical world of bridging is wrought with failures and security breaches. We're very confident that CCIP is the most secure interoperability protocol there. But again, we're optimized as a settlement layer and for security, for usability with things like maintaining the same interface on all chains and immutable contracts. And one more thing I wanted to share. That's probably a pretty good overview.
Cool. I mean, it's very, very interesting that you talk about CCIP as a settlement layer and your ethos to security was, one of the reasons why we have decided to partner with you guys and then enter build and everything. Because I remember when we just started, right? We didn't start as an interoperability protocol. It was a long journey until we got here. But initially, when we got into this, we decided to use CCIP purely because of the security aspects of it and how secure the risk management network. I think you guys are killing it with it, right? You essentially eliminate any need for trust, any need for not only trust within one node, not even trust within one network. You have another network double checking your official network, which is I think this is the way that this technology as a whole needs to move towards, just eliminating these trust assumptions and making sure that there is no fundamental attack vector there. But you talk about CCIP as a settlement layer, and I agree with it a lot, right? Because CCIP, because you guys respect finality, is a way to rebalance and to settle and batch a lot of transactions together. And this is what we've done with our V1, how we would, fast track transactions past finality, and then we would settle it with CCIP. And I think you guys found a very, very good niche there, because I think interoperability comes with a different flavors and a different scales, right? Because, for example, we use you guys for validation, right? Because we're not in a validation game, right? We're not validators because we don't need to be. There's so much very, very, very good tech and so many very powerful networks like Chainlinks out there that can do validation. We have different types of validations. We have ZK proofs, we have economically secured networks, we have cryptographically secured networks, and it's a whole system of its own, right? This is why we didn't want to kind of reinvent the wheel there. We just partnered with the best in the business, which is Chainlink, in order to provide those validation services. But what we saw is the need for a very scalable solution, and that's why we have decided to split apart the delivery network and the validation and the validators, because that answers a very, very prominent business requirement for many of these chains and many of these projects, apps, and assets. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but I want to be on a new chain now, right? This and we look at the way things are. We look at how many 750 EVM chains are out there. Maybe 15% of them have an interoperability provider. It's not because they don't want to enter the world of interoperability. It's because it's quite hard to enter that world, because a lot of people want in, but to scale to those new chains is actually quite hard. And again, that's why we've built what we've built, and that's why I think with partners like Chainlink, it's a very organic partnership. That will essentially make this a much more competitive environment. Speaking of CCAP integrated chains, Sonium is integrated, BNB is integrated, and I think BNB was one of the first chains. So
overall, the first chain Chainlink ever integrated was Ethereum mainnet. The second one was BNB chain.
There you go. Yeah. Well, BNB has been around for a while. So Ben, why don't you tell us a bit more about BNB's journey with interoperability? Because you guys have a couple of interoperability providers, including Chainlink, and just want to hear about your thoughts on this and what you guys are looking for, and if you're running into any problems, and
Well, basically, BNB chain is kind of like a good chain, because it's quite different from the user base, let's say, from the Ethereum, right? So everybody kind of in DeFi probably started out in Ethereum, but BNB chain historically started together with Binance.com, which was kind of like the starting layer for many new users. I think this is also partly reflected in the user base that BNB chain has. There's a lot of very, very, very excited users. The community is super, super big, and it's quite global and quite vibrant. So back in the day, BNB chain was kind of like the chain known for like lower gas fees, faster transactions. It was more like a payment settlement layer. It wasn't quite the same as Ethereum, for example, right? As many people have noticed now already, BNB chain is now separate from Binance.com. We still have great relationships with Binance.com and every other exchange as well, such as Kraken, Gate, all of them basically, right? And yeah, I mean, BNB chain kind of is also unique because there's some certain things that come out of the box. For example, you have the BSC layer 1, which everybody knows, but there's also OPBNB, somewhat a separate chain, faster chain built on Optimism stack, but also has Greenfield, which is the decentralized data storage. So having this everything out of the box, it's very attractive, especially, for example, for gaming projects, because they can, for example, deploy on the main BSC layer 1, which is the most important chain, let's say, for us, and also have very, very quick transactions, split millisecond transactions in OPBNB, for example, for in-game transactions. Is very relevant. And for example, storing important in-game assets or whatever assets in a decentralized way with Greenfield. So yeah, I mean, this makes BNB chain kind of unique, having those things kind of like more out of the box, and just a really, really big community. It's I would say it is the number one in the APAC region for sure. But it's a very global network, obviously. So we have also a relatively big team. Some of us are covered. So I'm covering, for example, the EMEA region. We have some colleagues covering more the APAC region. So yeah, it's a very, very big island, I would say, and there is a lot of liquidity, a lot of demand for great projects, and a lot of exciting opportunities on the BNB chain, from all categories.
Yeah, I think BNB was one, like when I was just entering the market, it was I remember when you guys were launching and the early days. It was the Wild West at one point because like Ethereum was like all DeFi, right? And then BNB came along, and there are so many new use cases that came out of it, and obviously faster block times and everything. And I remember those days; they were super fun. But speaking about islands and connecting them, I think Core has done a very good job and has a very interesting value proposition about connecting us to the biggest island of them all, and well, making that island more DeFi native and allowing value on that island to be unlocked. So Core, why don't you talk to us a bit more about what you do, how
Andy,
you guys achieve that?
thanks
Yeah.
for that great intro. That is the best way to put it for sure. We're trying to connect the whole DeFi ecosystem to the biggest challenge, which we Bitcoin. We're the most Bitcoin aligned chain. Probably some of you know us from the self-custodial Bitcoin staking. Quick recap on that. It's the riskless way to stake your Bitcoin. So how do we do this? Like basically every time you stake, you're helping validate transactions on the core chain. And yes, as you were saying, for us, it's super important to make Bitcoin a bearable asset, making everyone possible to use it on the DeFi ecosystem. So 100% for sure. For us, it's super important to have interoperability protocol in order to make Bitcoin bigger on this side. And super excited to listen to what everyone's saying about their chains. And yes, hopefully we can bring everyone to the main island.
You see, that's I think the problem that you're solving is very interesting, right? Because Bitcoin is obviously like the first and the biggest crypto out there, and it's where it all started, right? And yes, there is value in the scarcity of it. There's value in there's only going to be 21 million of it, and a lot of it's fully decentralized, the most decentralized network out there, and everything. But what I really like with projects and with chains like Core is that you can, like, it's just testament, like you can add utility just as time goes on, right? It's like suddenly this asset has become more valuable because it can, I don't know, economically secure transactions on core chain, right? And that additional value can be generated down the line, like Core has done for Bitcoin. And a lot of that value that's gonna be unlocked due to what you guys do is gonna benefit the entire ecosystem and all of the other islands together. And I think it is very important that use cases like this exist, and that this fundamental infrastructure, like all of this fundamental infrastructure, can be secured by the biggest asset of them all. And
Yeah.
speaking of,
Yeah, I was going to say 100%. One of our main challenges at Core is to unlock that liquidity that is trapped in not only wallets, exchanges, and like everywhere. So yeah, for us, connecting the islands is what's going to bring liquidity for the rest of the market, and also bringing utility to Bitcoin, because there's a lot of things that are still on the works when it comes to Bitcoin. So yeah, right now we're focusing on that.
perfect. And speaking of this fundamental infrastructure that Bitcoin is suddenly going to be able to secure, I think we have a node operator among us. So Ilya, if you can talk a bit more about the life of a node operator, and how has your business evolved, and how the idea and the realities of being a node operator has evolved over the past couple of years, with all of these new chains coming out, with all of the, like, with the proof of stake, with this interoperability. Like, how has it impacted the fundamental infrastructure providers, so the providers of compute?
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Andy. So, as for me, like the era of the single chain and dominance is going to be over. Yeah. So we are like entering a modular and multi-chain world, and that comes with new coordination problems. So validators are no longer just producing blocks or staking tokens. They are becoming like cross-domain service providers, making sure communication flows freely across decentralized systems. Yeah. And talking about the Concero, that shift is exactly what Concero built for, and it's why we believe node operators have a critical role to play in maintaining liveness across domains, in providing unbiased message delivery guarantees, and in supporting decentralization at the transport layer. So, like, you can't have cross-chain composability without a neutral, secure layer of infrastructure. Yeah, thanks.
Definitely. Look, and if we look at blockchains fundamentally of what they are, right? Like if we strip down and really, really, really have a basic overview of what it is just a layer of compute with like a ledger on top, right? And we talk about these specialized chains and we talk about these specialized ledgers, right? We'll have specialized compute that will be, performing actions that are specialized to that type of a computer. And we have these specialized ledgers that are L2s and L3s and everybody else. All of them need to work together, right? And as Ilya has said, right now it's no longer a single node operator only deploys to a single chain, and it's a walled garden, right? The fundamental compute is already like talking to each other. They're validating blocks and they're validating transactions and messages across all of these ecosystems, and now connecting the ledgers for them to be interoperable and composable very, very easily is the problem that we have to address. Because I think after we solve it, like truly solve it, after we allow, like, I entered the space as a builder when I was doing like my master's at university, right? I didn't have VC money. I was just a student, and what really like blew my mind about this entire space is that, well, back then, I could see on chain, what these big guys with like tens of thousands of bitcoins were doing with their bitcoins, and that kind of like blew my mind, right? And then I could start building. Straight away without needing a lot of like capital. When we think about interoperability and we think about specialized chains and we think about specialized compute, the innovation is not really going to come from these well-funded teams. Obviously, a part of it is going to come from there, but usually it's just wild ideas, wild risks that just work out, that actually become adopted. And I think for like the next iteration of utility that this technology can unlock will come when anyone can deploy a specialized chain very quickly, very easily, and connect it to all other chains, to all sources of liquidity, to all different types of specialized computes, to all different users and everything like that. When we finally get the, as I like to call it, the backend done, right, we can start pushing a much higher utility use cases out there. And yeah, I think is going to be interesting what apps and what applications, even beyond DeFi. That's what I'm very, very interested in as well. It's like applications of the decentralized ledger technology beyond the world of finance, DeFi, and going into all other walks of life. I think it's going to be very, very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of the use cases come out of it. Cool. Just as a matter of time, I think we're coming up to about 45 minutes. And I just wanted to basically get everybody's temp check. How are we doing? I hope everybody is enjoying the stream. And I basically wanted to talk a bit more about you guys and those who make your chains better. Those are developers. As I mentioned, we all start from somewhere. We'll all start with no money, and we'll all start with like just a fire within us to build something cool. And dev tooling and dev support is something that that's fundamental to growing any blockchain and to growing any system. So why don't we talk a bit more about what kind of dev tooling do you guys provide? Why do you what kind of dev tooling everybody should provide, and what is missing in your opinion with regards to dev tooling in order to unlock the next layer and the next level of applications. Anyone wants to go first?
I mean, I can just jump in real quick. Perhaps for the ideal like developer experience, right? Every person is kind of a bit different, right? So it's up to the person mostly, right? What type and what format they prefer the most. BNB Chain has a portal. It's called portal.bnbchain.org. It kind of like abstracts away the documentation. You can learn more there about all the different three components that I just mentioned earlier, about the layer one, about the OPBNB and Greenfield. And this is about this developer approach basically there. It's pretty streamlined and pretty user friendly. That was at least the focus when the team was designing it. When it comes to benefits, right, for checking out on BNB Chain, there's a page called Kickstart, all different benefits from our partners. There's credits from different data providers, or KYC solutions, or basically all different auditing solutions as well. So this is very, very helpful for projects that are building on BNB Chain and want to build those relationships early and just check out the right benefit without in a streamlined way. What we also try to do and encourage is to apply projects to encourage projects to apply to certain programs that we have. I mean, and those programs are not super, it's quite informal, those projects. But we have one which is the most known one, called MVB. It's a 4-week program after which we heavily incentivize the best ones. We have a lot of applications for MVB quite early, but they already have some traction already. Yeah, this is a very, very good opportunity to meet the team at Binance Labs, which was rebranded now to Easy Labs. Get to know all our ecosystem, players that are within the big BNB Chain ecosystem, obviously, including the exchange, market makers, KOLs, everything that basically comes to this project is very, very high quality. But we have something for VCs as well, which is called the BNB Chain Incubation Alliance, which is also known as Demo Day. We had one, for example. We have multiple, like last year. This year, the last one was actually in Dubai. That made quite a bit of headlines, and people on Twitter were very, very excited. So typically how it works is that VCs basically recommend projects there to BNB Chain for this presenting of their demo. Basically, that's why it's called Demo Day. And then we select out of this heavily vetted selection of projects 10 of the best ones that we want to see performing the demo. And this demo is then being evaluated by certain judges, for example, which we can manage in a way that it's culturally appropriate, expertise appropriate, and so on. So just to give a small insight how this looked like. For example, we booked a beautiful venue in a hotel. There was a lot of participants, maybe too many. As you can imagine, when CZ turned up, it was too crowded, and we were not able to let people in anymore. But yeah, we were very, very lucky to have him as a judge for the past demo day. But including also, Kraken Ventures was also part of the judging team. Gate Ventures as well. There's many alliance partners there as well, including Hashkey, also Faculty Group, GAF Partners, Morningstar, Capital, and so on. And this is basically a way how we try to provide a platform for those top projects to access funding in a matter of 10 minutes, basically.
Yeah, I remember I was actually in the queue for the demo day in Dubai. I think yeah, there were a lot of people that turned up, it was quite crowded, but it was a very, very cool day. And I think BNB, what you guys are doing, like, because you've been around for a long time, you have a good name, and you have all of these connections and partnerships, and making those available to projects that are building on top of your blockchain is something that I think pretty much every big player should be doing, because again, like we're all in this for the tech and for the improvements and for the growth of the underlying technology. And I think there is no one in our case better to speak about it than Sam, as a part of the build team that we're a part of. And if you can talk to us a bit more about build. Obviously I can talk about it for hours because we've been doing this for over a year together now, but I think it's much better when it comes from the source. Why don't you tell us a bit more about build and what you guys are doing, and how Chainlink is trying to cultivate the next generation of blockchain projects?
Sure. Well, I don't want to hold you back. We love it when people talk about us. Build is call it an ecosystem showcase. So we work with projects, Web3 projects in any stage that use our technology in some compelling way, like solve an important problem or unlock a use case. We have about 100 projects in the program. We add about 5 per quarter, depending on opportunities that come up. And we provide these projects services to help accelerate their growth. Those services are technical and non-technical. So the technical ones are mostly around their use of our tech, so they can work directly with the solutions architect. Sometimes it makes sense for them to work with our product managers or other subject matter experts, especially if they're participating in early access to our products, like an alpha or beta testing program, or they're launch partners when we bring something new to chain. And the non-technical services are co-marketing, community growth, ecosystem growth, access to our partner network. Our partner network, or networks, I should say, are very robust in some areas. We're very proud of it. We have non-technical partners that provide services like public relations or fundraising support, and very technical partners too, like RPC node service providers or security partners is my personal focus on the team. So when projects are looking for code audits or transaction monitoring and alerting, or know your transaction address screening, even brand asset protection, social media asset protection, those kinds of services too. The program's going really well. We've got great teams. One of them is on this live stream with me right now. A lot of these projects are, well, they're all smaller than Chainlink Labs, but being small enables them to move very quickly and innovate, which we're really grateful for. In the case of you, Andy, and Concero, we came up with products like Chainlink Functions and CCIP and automation, and we thought of our own like great use cases for these tools. And you guys came in with a great comprehensive vision that uses all these products together to solve a real pain point for end users. We're really excited about. It's not something we would have built ourselves. We really need projects like you to lead the way in this area and innovate on top of our tech. So thanks for being in the program. You've been incredible to work with.
Thank you very much.
One other feature, maybe the last feature of Build that I'll share, is we help projects distribute their token to the Chainlink community. It's a community growth mechanism, an economic mechanism for community growth. And we just completed our first one last month with Space and Time. So Space and Time is one of the original members of Chainlink Build. They use our tech to enable smart contracts to query data from their ZK-enabled data warehouse. Their token was made available to Link stakers and really had a great outcome for everyone, for Space and Time, for the Chainlink community, and for the Space and Time community. So it's a great program. It's a little over 2 years old. It's still growing. We're always looking for new great projects to join. And yeah, I'm out there. We're reachable. if you're interested.
Yeah, I mean, build has been, I think, quite a pivotal moment for us, and you're talking about like all the support, and we have been getting a lot of support, but I think the technical support side of it, I have a very interesting anecdote about it. So one of the solutions architect who was actually looking after us, he's also based in London, because me and my co-founder were based in London, and I remember it was December of 2023. I think he spent like an entire week at my apartment, just on my dining table, just like drawing out the architecture of like Concero V1, of like how we can make it happen and how we can make it possible. So it has been quite a long time since then, but we're still friends and we're still in touch. But yeah, the support was very, very, very big and very crucial for us, especially at that moment.
I'm sure that was Ade. He's incredible.
Yeah, it was Ade.
That model is not always sustainable, but I'm glad you took advantage of it.
Yeah. Of course we did. Speaking of dev tooling and support, Sonic, you guys are paying back fees, which is amazing. But I know that you guys are doing much more as well. So why don't you talk a bit more about the dev tooling that you provide, about the dev support that all these projects can enjoy?
Yeah, so aside from fee monetization, we do a lot of other programs. Right now, we've got an airdrop program that has got points for users, but it also has gems that can be claimed by the applications themselves. They can either choose to distribute them to their users, or they can keep them for themselves. As far as tooling, we really stay in touch with a lot of the developers on the network. If they show a desire for a piece of tooling that we don't have, we typically go and get it. We like to be kind of on the cutting edge and have all the tools and toys available for the developers on the network. One of the big things we've got coming down the line that I think is going to make a significant difference tooling-wise is native account abstraction. So, your users won't even have to know that they're using a blockchain. We'll have dynamic fees. We'll have gas subsidies. So your users don't even necessarily have to have any gas in a wallet. The application can subsidize their first few transactions or whatever that way. And then, of course, like recycle those fee monetization rewards into that system. Lots of things like that. As far as like normal support, we help with co-marketing, technical support, like ecosystem contacts, hooking them up with different infrastructure providers if they need, RPC or this or that. We try not to like pick favorites, but give a list of the different providers for the different services that we have. But we're trying to make the network as appealing to developers as possible. So between all of these different programs and the fee monetization, that's sort of what we're going for.
Yeah, that's it's very, very cool. And I think the fact that you kind of tied in the developer rewards and the end user rewards and kind of trying to cultivate that community is something that a lot of developers are looking for. Obviously, we're talking about interop here and the fact that the community is going to be omni-chain and everything like that. But that's all the great future. The reality of things, like, we have to live in the real world, and the reality right now is we're still at the isolated islands stage, unfortunately, for like 80%, 77% of chains that are out there. And I think, again, onboarding those users and allowing developers to essentially access to them to start accessing them is something that's that I think most chains are focusing on, but very select few are succeeding in. And speaking of attracting users and attracting developers, I think Core might have very interesting insights, because you guys have a tremendous challenge ahead of you, and you're undertaking it beautifully, of attracting people to this new kind of blockchain, which is secured by Bitcoin, and attracting developers there as well. So why don't you talk a bit more about your experience, Wasp, of how you guys at Core have found it, and how you guys are attracting those developers and users?
Thanks, Andy. And yes, as you're saying, it's a huge challenge. That's why Core has been was made fully EVM compatible. So that serves us as a leverage when it comes to attracting developers, because as you know, most of the developers are already familiar with EVM chains. Technically, Core is a layer one. So when it comes to building, we have all the setup of APIs documentation that has been very useful for devs. Just quick ping on this. Right now we're running a worldwide build-a-thon. There's $1 million in prizes. So with that, this is one of the initiatives we're doing to attract new talent, new developers, and also all the protocols that want to integrate the Bitcoin staking. So as some of you know, the demand is big to connect this island, and above all, yes, we've been very successful and very lucky to have more developers on board. So there's a couple of initiatives happening on the community side. We're also launching an NFT marketplace, so we also have those developers on the side coming to Core. But yeah, as you're saying, it's a huge challenge, working on that very hard, and hopefully by the next Q we're gonna start seeing more fruitful of this.
Oh, that's amazing. And making activities like that, like a global hackathon, and I remember like hackathons, I think is like one of the most fun things you can really do, because as a builder, it kind of puts these like puts you in this like frame of thinking of like, okay, you can, because we have ideas all the time, like, oh, it would be great to do this, like, but then you start dissecting the idea and you're like, all right, like most of my 20s will have to be spent building this. So it's like,
Yeah.
why don't we look for problems to which we can come up with quick solutions, and how can we build it quicker? And I think this is it has been explored in many books, like the lean startup, the idea of like cut down the problem and the idea that you have to like the bare bones minimum. How can you provide value as soon as possible and deliver that value very quickly? Is a very good exercise and a very fun activity to undertake. It is hard, but I think hackathons in particular are a great place to kind of massage your brain a little bit and kind of become a better builder. But as we're talking about onboarding end users and very interesting use cases and very specific types of users, it would be great to hear from you, Sam, from Sonium, about how you guys have approached taking those attracting those developers and attracting those users to your ecosystem, because you have a very unique value prop.
Yep, so I'm happy to share. So we actually have a lot of incoming inquiries that always come in from like a lot of gaming studios, entertainment partners, studios, and so on. And we also are fortunate that we've built a really good network of infrastructure partners that also do help us bring a lot of like inbound inquiries as well. Like even Chainlink Build being one of the very strong teams that are constantly putting us in touch with good teams. So I think we have a lot of interest that's always coming in, so that I think that pipeline's always been good. On top of this, we have a lot of builder initiatives that happen from time to time. So we had the Sonium Asian Hackathon that was just concluded like a month ago. We'll be announcing winners for that soon. And next, we also have another very exciting initiative coming up. So yeah, I think we do have a good amount of interest to build in the community. I think what we are trying to offer is a bit more different from like what other communities can offer, because we're trying to focus more on like a very specific narrative. So I think that's if builders can kind of like follow the same narrative as us, I think then we are kind of striking like the perfect symphony with them. And then on top of this, we have a lot of like very targeted marketing and like community, which is like mainly associated with like Southeast Asia and like concentrated in like Japan and Korea, which are like becoming very hot markets right now. So that's where we are most prevalent right now. Yep.
Amazing. I mean, it's interesting to hear like all of the different approaches, and especially in your use case, it is quite unique. So yeah, it's just out of curiosity. It's always just interesting to see how all of us will we have these pretty much the same end goals, but just the different approaches and different problems that people are running into are very interesting. How about Iris, Satoshi? Talk to us more about Iris, what you guys allow developers to do, and how do you help them? How do you onboard end users? And yeah.
Yeah, happy to share. I think we are a much more nascent chain. So currently onboarding of developers and applications from other chains is a very one-to-one basis. I guess more high touch method where we provide our own developers to support integrations, and also we make it very easy in terms of documentation to understand how to get your apps connected from other chains onto Iris for data storage. And I think currently we are also working on tapping into more of the vibe coding community. So we'll be hosting some sessions in Singapore along with some other AI deepin projects here. And other than that, also incubating projects alongside good teams to at least bootstrap the ecosystem.
That's really, I mean, one-to-one approach, because you guys are quite new, is always, I think, very, very key, right? Yes, we all think we'll talk about these go-to-market strategies and stuff like that, and the perpetual flywheels and all of that stuff, because we want to see the numbers go up, we want to see the vanity metrics go up, we want to see it all because it's a dopamine hit. But if we're actually here to like solve a problem and to actually make a very good product, it is very important to have these one-to-one conversations, especially early on, just to understand the end customer and your customer a lot better, right? This is what we have been doing internally at Concero as well. Obviously we're talking to a lot of chains, but as we're getting our footing, because we're still in the testnet phase, taking that individual approach just to make sure that everybody is happy is very important. And I think it yields better results long term, because like if you take care of your first 10 customers, they will probably tell their friends about you and people that they work with about you, and it will lead to a much more organic way of growth. And it's just, you will see much better returns from it. I'm getting a message from Sam. You're gonna have to hop off soon. Thank you very much for taking the time today. It has been a pleasure.
Sorry. Thank you so much for inviting us. And it's been a pleasure talking with all of you. So sorry, I need to hop off.
It's
Thank
all right.
you guys.
Don't worry. And
All
on
right.
that fun note, I just got a text from Nikita that every single chain that is present on this call has been integrated already from the time that the live stream has started. We're going to be sharing a bunch of links to transactions that have arrived from other chains onto your chain probably after the call. We're just figuring out why Nikita cannot share his screen. There are some technical problems. We're on-chain devs. We can build stuff on chain, but sharing screen on a live stream, I think that's above our pay grade at this point. So whilst we try to get that done, let's continue with our conversation. We've talked about devs. We've talked about the fundamental tech use cases. We've talked about interoperability, but there's one very, very important thing that we haven't talked about yet, and this is the reason why we do everything that we do, is the end user experience. And it's about how do we solve problems. I think a lot of people in the space, a lot of end users in the space are very, very interested in the technology, but as the industry kind of grows, we start seeing some sort of a product market fit in certain areas where this technology is used not only because it's cool and it's fun, but also because it solves actual problems, and it makes users' life. There you go, it's done. It makes users' life better. So after we have a look at some of these transactions, let's talk about end users how can we keep them engaged, how can we solve their problems. And yeah, this is transactions that we're seeing on BNB. Nikita, if you would like to talk about what we're seeing here. And yeah.
Yeah, here's transaction that I sent from Arbitrum Sepolia to OP-BNB. Oh, sorry. The next one is Aurora. So here is a transaction also from Arbitrum Sepolia. And I also just integrated Iris, but I don't know how to show it. Let me try. Sorry about technical issues.
It's all right. As long as the messages are delivered by our network, verified by the lively folks at Chainlink, I think the share screen issue is the least of our worries.
Can I see it?
Not yet, unfortunately.
Another point I'd like to make is our lead dev took 1 hour 15 minutes to add about 3 chains, all while sitting on the live stream.
Yep. More are going to be done by the end, because some were already integrated, but the 3 new ones are just on this live stream.
Sonic, Sonium, Core are already been added, BNB as well. We added OP, BNB, Aurora, and Iris right now. And you know, we see the community loving all these chains so much. Concero V2 testnet will be out live for the public to test it out quite soon. And yeah, we're happy to really share that on the live stream.
Yeah, I think this is why Kito is here as well. Kito's our head of product. He's going to be stepping in shortly to talk about the new Lanka and the testnet. But before we move on to that, let's get back to end users and how do we make their lives better. Does anybody want to start off with tackling this question?
Yeah, I think to onboard new end users, like, you know, a lot of the people that are in Web3 are the people that are willing to deal with all the, you know, technical complications that come with Web3, the, you know, custodial, you know, managing your own keys and dealing with wallets and learning all this stuff. I think you need account abstraction and you need a very fast chain so that you can have the lowest latency possible. People are used to Web 2, click it and forget it. And until you can bring that to them, I think you're not going to have a great time. But yeah, I think account abstraction is going to be huge too. Like getting all the technical stuff away from the end users is going to be what opens things up. Like you'll have applications that their users don't even know that they're necessarily using blockchain or any kind of like a ledger. And I think that's going to be the big key to unlocking new end users for sure.
Blockchain is definitely the backend, 100%. And account abstraction, I've been excited about it for quite a while. There are a lot of very interesting teams that are working on it, like Cluster now by Economy, good friends of ours, and especially with the new EAP being added into the Pectra update, you know, we see this problem being addressed more and more and more. And I think this easy onboarding and like blockchains essentially becoming the backend for all of these applications. And I don't think, again, this is going to be a controversial thought here, right? But applications do not have to be just on the blockchain. Like a blockchain is like, it can be an additional value generating addition to the backend in order to figure out some processes that need to be figured out in a trustless, decentralized, and permissionless and transparent manner. But it can be used as an addition to improve a certain process, and it can be used as a all-in-all solution to a process. And I think this is something that we haven't explored as the industry a lot yet. Of like we tried and we are still building like purely on-chain applications and purely blockchain applications, which is very cool. But like as soon as we start bringing together the Web 2 and Web 3 world, where Web 3 and blockchains are kind of improving Web 2 infrastructure, I think this is where we're going to see, you know, a large explosion in the demand and the usage of the stack. And I like evidently we can see it in the world of finance, especially with Chainlink and the work that you guys are doing. We see a lot of these traditional institutions and traditional players kind of adopting this technology. They're not switching entirely to it because they don't need to, but they are improving processes like settling transactions, sending transactions, movement of capital, all of that stuff through the use of Chainlink and through the use of blockchain technologies. Like JP Morgan, in collaboration with Chainlink, performed the first transaction from their private chain onto the public chain, I think not too long ago. And that's a big milestone. JP Morgan is not a Web3 project, right? JP Morgan is a big bank, but they have improved their offering through this technology. And I think this is going to be very, very interesting to see. And I think out of everybody here, the chain that had the most interactions with users due to its age, due to its size, is BNB. And Ben, if you'd like to talk a bit more about what you have learned over the years, how the user sentiment has changed, how the user demands have changed, and what you're seeing on chain and off chain of BNB right now.
Well, I'm right now. I'm kind of like a bubble right now, so I don't have that many touching points with the users directly. But yeah, like I can see increased interest from institutions, for example. There's been great use cases being launched on all chains. The one that we are probably most proud of was just released just recently with the tokenized U.S. Treasuries by VanEck. VanEck is a big asset manager. Also, bringing basically institutional grade products to the chain. Private credit, everything related to RW in this context, right? I think when I use the example of like what the user actually probably wants in a few years from now, he or she should have the option to, right? This is the real value exchange that Dexus should provide, and going back to the value exchange routes without intermediary currencies, if that's not needed in a specific use case. So yeah, those are kind of like the directions that I'm trying to shape also at BNB Chain, and I'm definitely very, very bullish for 2025 when it comes to DeFi in general, but also interoperability, and especially on the use case of RWA.
Amazing. RWAs is a very interesting aspect, and I think we've been talking about RWAs like ever since the beginning of this technology in this industry. Like I remember back then, I wanted to, I couldn't, I still cannot, unfortunately, buy a house, but it would be cool to buy a house on chain, well, like the deed being on chain. So hopefully by the time I'm in a position to do so, I would be able to. But I think RWAs are a very strong use case for this technology, right? And that exchange of value is best served on chain. Again, being very, very wary of time, because we're having a very great conversation, and almost an hour and a half has passed. So I think we should be cutting this quite soon. Just before we do, wanted to say a very, very, very big thank you to everybody who has been here with us. Thank you to the Chainlink team, Thank you to Sonic. Thank you for Sonium. Thank you to Core. Thank you to BNB. Thank you to Hightower. Thank you to Iris. And most importantly, thank you to Nikita for integrating everybody that has been on the stream so quickly and so efficiently. I think he will be doing it even after the stream. And why don't we post, just all of the changes that we have added today on Twitter. So guys, follow us. Check it out. Check out all of the transactions that are going to be moving through it. Thank you all. If you would like to shill anything, please take this time. I think we have about 2,500 people watching live. So it's crypto. Shill what new updates you have, what you want people to find out about, and yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Andy, Nikita, and all the Concero team. Super excited for what's coming next. Please, if any devs over there, join the build-a-thon, and any protocols that want to join the Bitcoin staking, we're here for you.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I won't shill anything, but I will say,
thank you guys. It was a great talk.
No, if you'd like me to show you something, come find me in our builders chat, and we'll have a chat.
All right. Cool. Ben, I think you were cut off.
I'm probably going to see you guys at some great conferences and great offline events that you and we are planning for this year.
Speaking of conferences, there's something that I needed to say that I forgot to say, but I remembered it now. We're going to ETC. We're going to have our first ever event there. And if you're a Lanco or a Concero community member, there is going to be a way to win an all expenses paid trip with us to ETC, to our event. You'll stay with the team. We'll chill together for a few days. It's going to be in Cannes, France. It's going to be very, very, very good weather and a very good event. I think we'll be posting about it soon. So keep an eye out and come join us, chill with the team. And and you'll probably meet everybody who is on the call there as well. Because is everybody here going to ECC?
Chainlink will be there, but I will not. I don't think. Things change, but not sure. Andy, I just want to say thank you for having me on the call. It's been great, and you've been a great partner in Build. You're doing great work. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. And yeah, there's a lot more that we need to do together. So I don't think this is going to be the last call. Anyone else? I think we're yet to hear from Iris and Hightower. Anything you guys want to say as last remarks?
Happy to go first. Sorry. I think for Iris, maybe you can briefly share that currently we are on the Kaito Yappa leaderboard. So for those of you who have the time to, learn more about Iris and just send out a tweet or two, go ahead and do so. In the coming weeks, we'll be also launching games. I think what's unique about the games that we are launching is that they'll be on more widely adopted platforms such as TikTok. And happy to share more when those come out. But appreciate Concero for this live stream and integrating our chain. And Godspeed.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ilya, what final remarks do you have?
Yeah, thanks, Andy, for the conversation. It was good to see everyone. It was really nice. I'm really excited to be here. And please follow Hightower on our Twitter. We're publishing researches on many networks and lots of infrastructural insights. And hopefully see you all at the conferences, at least at the ETHCC. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So with 1 minute and 40 seconds left, what have we learned today, guys? Well, we have learned that the multi-chain world is coming, and it's somewhat here already. Interoperability is something that is very much needed to unlock the next stage and the next level of blockchain applications and blockchain use cases. And if you would like to integrate and connect to hundreds and soon to be thousands of other chains that are out there, we're the quickest ones to do that. It takes us an hour to integrate 3 chains, and as everybody on this call knows, we haven't invoiced any of you because it costs us less than $1. We just needed a bit of gas to do the integration. So let's commoditize this together. Let's grow this together, and let's solve this problem once and for all. Thank you very much to everybody who's been here with us. Users that are listening, the public testnet is gonna come this week. Kitu will be sharing some insights into that and some insights into the new Lanka. But beyond that, thank you very much. I have ironed my shirt specifically for this. I usually wear a t-shirt, and I'm very, very glad that that the stream has been so fun, and time flies when you're having fun. It's been 90 minutes. Anyways, everybody, thank you very much. Appreciate you all. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you at events, Twitter, and wherever we all meet. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Again, thank you very much for everyone for joining this live stream. I don't think in the Web3 space that there has been a live stream that has been organized with all the chains together, and it's only our first season of the live stream. Seeing how well it's gone so far, we are definitely going to be back and with much more power than next time. And looking forward to see all your familiar faces once again, and with all the new chains out there, bringing it to the Concero community and to the Lanka community, ensuring that the interoperability space knows what we stand for at Concero. Saying that, I'd like to hand over the mic to Kitu to talk more about Lanka V2.
And by the way, guys, if you gotta run, feel free to leave. It's just gonna be admin stuff now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Wasp. Thank you, Leah.
Yeah.
Everyone tuning in.
Okay, so one last thing, Andy. So
Sure.
who is going to ECC?
Everybody who is here, plus my co-founder, like half of our team is going to be there.
Great. Are you running a side event?
Yes, we are.
Can you
Wanna
send me
join?
the invite, because some of the core team are going to be there, so we'd love to pass them the link so they can attend.
Of course. Come through. It's going to be fun.
I'm not going to be there, but you're going to meet Spring Roll. He's going to be there, and I would love you to meet him.
Of course. Always
Great.
up to meeting people.
Great. Oh, here it is. How can I get that link from Luma?
I'll send it in the chat, mate. No worries.
Chat. Okay. Have a good one. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you very much. Bye-bye. Cool. Now that we're here, Kitu, why don't you talk us through all of the Lanka updates, all of the testnet updates, and yeah.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Kitu, the head of product of Concero and Lanka. We have a lot of updates on this week, and I want to show you some of them, guys. First of all, let's start with the Lanka, I guess. Let me try to share my screen.
Sorry, before we jump in, I actually have to jump as well. Thank you all for coming. I'm leaving you in great hands of actually it was the Concero core team. When it just started, it was me, Oleg. Then the third person to join was Nikita. Fourth person was Kitu, and fifth person was Nisan. So everybody here plus my co-founder are like the core 5. So I know that I'm leaving you guys in very, very good and capable hands. And yeah, enjoy all of the updates of Lanka and testnet, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Andy. See you.
Bye, Andy.
Bye.
So yeah, let me share my screen, guys. Nisin, can you please? Yeah, thank you. I guess you can see it. I hope, at least. So here is the newest version of Lanka. This is the Lanka V2, and we've been working on that for at least, let's say, I don't know how many months. And mostly because not of like the development side of things, but mostly because of gathering feedback and talking to you guys and listening to you guys. And today I'm happy to present the V2 of the Lanka. In my opinion, this is the cleanest and the most beautiful UI you've ever seen in the industry. But I'm the product guy, so it's up to you. You can use it and tell me anything you think about it, about this UI, about the new functionality that I have, and everything. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Discord. You can DM me in Telegram. Some of our old users even have personal chats with me and Andy. So if you guys do have any problems, issues, feedbacks, suggestions, please drop it to me. I'll process it and we will make Lanka better together. So what is the new Lanka? So first of all, we reworked the inputs that we have. So right now it's easier for you to type and send specific amount that you want. So what I'm talking about is, imagine on the Lanka V1, you can only do this thing, right? You want to send 5 USDC, you can type it and it works. But what if it's not USDC? And let's say, I don't know, what if it's Ethereum, right? By the way, this is the new model. We reworked it from scratch. Here we have our chains for now. There are 5 chains. Once the LBF is live, there will we will have more than 100 chains here and thousands and thousands of tokens. So yeah, now you have your tokens tab where all of your tokens are collected. So you don't have to choose any chain specific, right? You can only scroll down through this list and then you can choose whatever you want. Then you can click on show less and you can search for the popular tokens on every chain you want. Or you can choose the chain and here your tokens on this specific chain. Obviously, you can click on this and you can go to the scan to check if this token is real or it's like a scam contract or something. Also for retail users that are not that deep in Web3, we got this gas tag. So it's easier for you to find the native token of the chain and it's easier for you to get the gas. I don't know. I think this is the cool feature. So it's easier for people to find the native tokens and to understand what the native token is. So let's click on Ethereum. Obviously, I don't have that much Ethereum and Optimism, unfortunately. But what I said, what if I want to send a specific amount in dollars? Then I can, let's say, do this. And I can simply switch to dollars and send $5 equivalent of the Ethereum. And it works. But what if I want to send to my let's say I have another wallet, right? What if I want to send something around 25%? We don't have buttons for this, right? But it's not a problem at all because you can just simply do this. Here's the 25% of my whole balance of Ethereum and Optimism, and it works smooth. Even though even if you want to send something like this, it works good as well. Let's try it. It works. If you don't have, I don't know, for some reason, numbers on your laptop or phone, you can even do this. Half. And this is the half of the balance that I have on Ethereum and Optimism. Quarter. It works. So yeah, when it comes to, let's say, $5, every 60, another update that every 60 seconds we refetch the route. So it the fail rate is less now because, and the price impact is less for you. So you got more money on the DST chain because of this, because we refetch it every 60 seconds and you will spend less money and the fail rate will be less as well. So this is the second update. What else? We add custom slippage with it's a pretty basic feature, but still, if you want to do something like this, okay, the slippage could be this one, it could be custom, or you can switch to auto and it works good as well. The review, still the same. We just updated the UI. It looks clean, nice. I don't know what to say. It's just good. But we also added a send tab. So now you can do a cross-chain. You can send money to the destination wallet cross-chain. So what it means, imagine if I, let's say, owe you some money, right? Let's say $20, and I only got those $20 on Ethereum, in Ethereum and Optimism. But you, as a recipient, you want to get it on the, I don't know, you prefer Polygon USDC, right? Then I don't have to first swap it, bridge it, and then send to you through my wallet, like MetaMask, Phantom, or whatever, right? I can simply swap and bridge it and send it to your wallet in one click. So here you can type something like this. If the ENS name is the correct, you will see this. If it's not correct, let's say Hiro.is. Oh, someone stole my, wow. Yeah, like this. So if it's invalid, you will get the error. So you do not worry that you will send money to like non-existent wallet. It works good. And I think that's it. So it works. The Lanka V2 will be live right after the stream. We just have to push it because for now it's like a Versal stand. And let's jump to the testnet. I think some of you like had access to the testnet. We have whitelisted at least 50,000 people, and more than half of them have tried our bridges from any chain to any chain in under 50 seconds. Just a quick guide, what should you do with this? First of all, you have to claim T0. You can claim it on every chain you want. Some of the faucets may be down because of like insufficient gas balance. It's okay, guys. There are a lot of users, so sometimes it happens, but still, you can claim it on every chain you want. Let's say Mega is. Once you get it, you'll see your balance, and then you can bridge it to every chain you want. Let's try it now. Keep in mind that this is the testnet, right? So the fail rate for now is a bit too high, but we are working on that. Our devs had a major update 2 days ago, so right now it works better, but we will have a major update in a week or so. The fail rate will be lowest possible. So let's just try. I don't know if it works or not. Once again, this is the testnet, but I want to be clear with you. Like, if it works, then you see it. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it. This is how the testnet works. So basically, on the testnet, we have the value transfer, right? So you can bridge any asset from any chain to any chain in, let's say, under 15 seconds. It depends on the workload. You see right now it was 14 seconds, but still, right now we have, I forgot how many chains do we have, but something around, let's say 50. And Nikita had integrated 6 chains during this stream. 6 chains during the, how many in 100 minutes. So it's something around 16 minutes per chain. That's crazy. And you'll have it on our front end as well. Don't forget that you can claim rewards for every transaction that you make on our Concero testnet. So if you click on claim, you will be redirected to our Concero rewards portal. So use it, guys. Like, I don't know, connect your socials. You can check your leaderboard, right? You can check your history. You can check if there are any transactions, like how many SIRs did you get for like your transactions. And you see, I just made the testnet bridge from Mega East to Arbitrum Cipolle, and I got 0.1 SIR for it. So I don't want to tell it to you guys, but you can abuse it. Yeah, so if you send something around 100 transactions, you can obviously get how many? 10 SIRs. It's not that small. It's a big amount of SIRs. Yeah, so I think that's it. Join rewards portal, do the swaps daily. As you can see, my daily swapping streak is saved because I made a swap today for more than $50. My LP holding streak is 6 months because I got liquidity in Lanka pools for the 6 months, and I got extra multiplier because of it. Yeah, I think that's all. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing the amazing Lanka V2 and as well as the testnet.concero.io page, Kidu. So everything that the users really love, it's from the designer, it goes from designer. Kidu ensures that the developers are ensuring that the product is right, and developers ensure that it's made according to how the community wants it. And at the end of the day, we are here. I'm here for the community to know about this, and we take our feedback very seriously. As you can see, we keep iterating and we keep improving upon each and every feedback that we get, especially in terms of Concero V2 and Lanka right now. And as Kitu said, Lanka will be going, multi-chain with more than 100 chains as soon as LBF drops. LBF stands for Lanka Bridging Framework, and LBF should be live in a couple of weeks from now on. And for that, we will definitely need your help to test out Concero V2, because Concero V2 will be the main infrastructure that will power LBF. And saying that, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to our live stream, Concero, Chainlink, and your favorite chains. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to all the chains on live stream today, and having all the viewers tune in and hear us ramble on about interoperability space and as well as the multi-chain future. Thank you all for tuning in. See you next time. And one last thing before we sign off is we are holding an all-inclusive ETHCC Khan's invitation event invite only, where one user from Concero and Lanka will have a chance to come on board to ETHCC Khan's hotels, flights, all included, and you will get to chill with the team. We are more fun than we seem on live stream, I can assure you that. And hopefully we have a really great time in ETHCC Khan's, and especially at our site event that's going to be happening in Khan's. Mark, our head of ecosystem and partnership, has made sure to secure us a casino at Khan's. So you can imagine how amazing the ETHCC site event is going to be. And yeah, I mean, a casino for degens. What more do you guys want?
You can gamble with us, guys. This is the whole point of this trip. No, I'm just joking.
Gamble with SIRS. That could be a good addition with it. Use your SIRS as the chips, the coins in the casino. That could be also an addition to it. Cool. Saying that, I'd like to thank you all once again for joining in, and hope you guys have a great rest of the week ahead. Thank you.